A group of 30 cross-party MPs has called on Rachel Reeves to introduce a wealth tax on Britain's richest individuals in next week's budget, instead of opting for spending cuts that would disproportionately affect the poorest. In a letter to the Chancellor, MPs, including former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn and his then shadow Chancellor, John McDonnell, argue that a 2% tax on wealth over £10 million could generate £24 billion annually, paving the way for a fairer and more sustainable economy. Reeves is currently considering ways to raise billions in additional tax revenue to fill a £40 billion gap in government finances, aiming to avoid a return to austerity or violating a self-imposed rule to balance day-to-day spending with tax receipts. Labour has pledged not to raise taxes on working people by increasing income tax, national insurance, or VAT, and has committed to keeping corporation tax capped at its current level. While Reeves has considered raising existing wealth-related taxes, such as inheritance and capital gains taxes, she has ruled out introducing a new wealth-specific levy. However, the signatories from Labour, including Diane Abbott, all 4 Green MPs, the Liberal Democrats, Plaid Cymru, the Social Democratic and Labour Party, the Alliance Party of Northern Ireland, and several independents, argue that wealth is undertaxed in the UK. They claim a new tax on the rich could provide a significant revenue stream. The letter, coordinated by the campaign group Green New Deal Rising, points out that taxes on the wealthiest have barely increased since the mid-1960s, despite a growing need for public funds in the face of economic and climate crises. This is deeply unfair and immoral, the letter states. In an era where public funds are urgently needed, it is essential to correct this imbalance. The potential for transformative change through taxing extreme wealth is evident, and public support for such measures is increasing. The MP's lobbying coincides with 2 polls showing strong public backing for higher wealth taxes to help fix Britain's struggling public services. According to a survey of over 2,000 people conducted by Opinion for the think tank Demos, 60% believe the government should focus on raising funds through inheritance tax reforms rather than cutting public spending. Just 10% said spending cuts should take priority. The poll found particularly strong support among Labour voters, 74%. But even a majority of Conservative voters, 53%, backed inheritance tax reforms. Another opinion poll of more than 3,000 adults, commissioned by the Trades Union Congress, TUC, found that 62% of voters support asking the wealthiest to pay more taxes, while only 12% opposed higher taxes on the rich even if it led to worsening public services. TUC General Secretary Paul Novak said, "The Chancellor should be heartened by the widespread public support, across the political spectrum, for a fairer tax system. Voters want those with the broadest shoulders to contribute more, particularly when our schools and hospitals are under so much strain." The TUC also highlighted strong support for Labour's proposed tax measures. According to their findings, 79% of voters support reducing NHS waiting times and increasing appointments by tackling tax avoidance and closing non-dom loopholes. Additionally, 65% are in favour of ending tax breaks for private schools to fund more teachers. Demos has proposed a set of inheritance tax reforms that could generate £2.6 billion this tax year, or up to £16 billion over the course of the next Parliament. Their proposals include cutting the levy on estates worth less than £1 million from 40% to 30%, while raising it to 45% for estates worth more than £2 million. Dan Goss, a senior researcher at Demos, said, "Our proposal offers a balanced approach, reducing taxes for working families while also limiting tax breaks for the wealthy. Public support is clear. Reforms like these can raise revenue and attract broad backing by making the system fairer."